Hey guys, and welcome to Science Today. So I have behind me some very beautiful trees with some cardinals actually live. And if you look closely, you might be able to see the little birds hopping around behind me. So we talked in last class about different needs that animals and plants and living things can get from their environment. We talked about basic needs, which are needs that you just find lying around, like soil and sunlight and fresh water. We talked about produced needs, which are needs that need to be made by someone or produced by someone, like food and shelter. We talked about non-material needs, which are needs that you can't hold in your hand but exist, like safety. We talked about instinct. We talked about being able to learn things. And so those are all needs that animals get from their environment. And every piece of an environment can be very important to the living things around it. In fact, did you know that if one thing from an environment dies or goes away, it can hurt many other things around it? So there's a lot of people out there whose job is to try to, when something happens bad to something in an environment, to try to fix it. So today, in science, our job is to be looking at problems in the environment and see if we can come up with a way to fix them. Now, for every problem, every way to fix a problem, there's some good ways, good things about it, and some bad things about it. So we're going to come up with some good things about each way to fix a problem and a bad thing. Well, let's talk about our cardinals right here. Now, one of the needs they have is a basic need that every living thing has, and that is fresh air to breathe. It's the need the cardinals have and the need that I have. So let's pretend a factory gets set up right here in the yard. And this factory is not taking great care of what they're doing, and they're putting a lot of pollution in the air, a lot of stuff that are bad to breathe. Well, now my cardinal friends over here and I no longer have good air to breathe. That's a problem. We're not going to be able to live very long or very well if we're not able to have the good air to breathe. So what's a way that we could fix this problem? Think about it for a minute. So there's lots of ways to fix it. One of them would be to take the factory down so it's not making anything. So the good thing about taking the factory down is that there will be no pollution. No factory, no pollution. They will be back to normal and we can breathe it. But let's talk about a bad thing. If we take the factory down, then whatever they're making in the factory won't be made anymore. Also, in every factory, there's a lot of people that work there. So if we take the factory down, people are going to lose their jobs, and that's not good. So that solution has a lot of bad things about it. Let's think of another way. What if we found a way to make whatever was in the factory and we invented a way to make it that uses very little, if any, pollution? Well, then we can still be making the thing in the factory and people can keep getting their jobs and the air will still be breathable and me and my cardinal friends in the background can still be able to breathe and live. That's a great solution. But there's still some problems with that solution. Maybe it's more expensive to make that thing. It takes a lot of time and effort to come up with a new way to do stuff. But it still seems like maybe that might be the best solution to what I'm talking about. Another solution might be to move the factory somewhere else. If there's somewhere where we can move the factory where there's not many living things around it, definitely move it somewhere where there's not many people around it could affect. So every problem that we come up with, we can come up with many different solutions or way to fix it. And many different things about the solution that's good or bad. So now I want you to imagine that you are on the beach. Now, have you ever been to the beach and seen a sand dune? A sand dune is a big pile of sand that the wind has blown up. And have you ever looked on those sand dunes and seen lots of tall yellow grass coming up from the sand dune? Those are called sea oats, and sea oats are very important in that they keep sand dunes in place. They also are good for lots of creatures in the beach to eat, so that's a produced need for a lot of the creatures. These sand dunes do a lot to help creatures. Well, let's say a hurricane comes by. And this hurricane comes by and it's a Category 5 hurricane and it completely destroys all the sea oats. What do you think is something that can be done to fix that problem? One thing that can be done is people can go out and plant more sea oats. So let's think of some good things and bad things about that way of fixing the problem. Think for a second on your own and then I'll answer. So one good thing is that if they're planting sea oats, then those sea oats can be there and they can be there for food for the animals to eat, and help them go on. Another thing, and help the sand dunes stay in. Some bad things, and again, I don't know much about planting sea oats, but it might take a while for them to get their roots firm into the ground so that they can stay. Another bad thing is that it takes a lot of people a lot of time to do something like that, to plant enough sea oats for a whole beach. So that could be a good thing and some bad things about planting sea oats on a beach. Okay, so for your science homework today, you're going to see a lot of problems like this, where you're going to have to come up with a solution, and then for every solution you come up for your problem, you're going to have to say something good and something bad about your solution. In real life, that's what people do when they're trying to solve a problem. They talk about the problem and they come up with some ways to fix it, and some good things and some bad things, and they try to find the thing that has the least bad things and the most good things, and that's how we solve a problem. So go on and engineer, come up with a way to fix the problems that I have put in your science homework. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, and have a great day. Bye, guys.